Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm often asked, can you give us any advice about how to tackle this Ramadan? How can we prepare ourselves? How can we get ready for this upcoming Ramadan? So I'd like to give you guys 3 simple pieces of advice, inshallah ta'ala, that I think will be very beneficial. The number 1 is disrupt your bad habits. Bad habits tend to have a time slot. Usually, I don't know, after school or before you go to bed or something like this. Usually bad habits have some kind of a time slot. And so my advice, quite simple, how can I fill my time specifically during those time slots with something a little bit more engaging, something that will keep me busy, something that will disrupt my typical schedule and my typical habits. That's point number 1. If you can implement that, then inshallah ta'ala, you're going to start ridding yourself of certain bad habits, and that's a great way to bring in this month of Ramadan, a good way to prepare yourself. I mention it every year. Point number 2 is what? Write up your dua list. I highly recommend this as a super important piece of advice, that you write up your dua list. What do I mean by this? Take the time. Alhamdulillah, nowadays we all have phones. We can all write up lists very comfortably. We don't have to walk around with pens and papers. We can write down, whether it be from the Quran and Sunnah in Arabic or with the translation in English, whether it be personal du'as for your own life, the things that you want to achieve, whether it be for family or friends, people in your circle, that they have certain needs that need to be met. You make du'a for them, write these things down, write a few key words. I want you to prepare also to write for the ummah at large, various different people, different countries, etc. People are suffering, so please make dua for them as well. Get your dua list ready. Why? So that when Ramadan finally arrives, every time you break your fast, you go through this list and make these duas, whether it's a long list or a short list, inshallah ta'ala, it'll be of great benefit. Point number 3, final point, inshallah ta'ala, is what? Is alone time. Try to engage in a little bit more alone time. What do I mean by this? Whether it's spending time being alone for a walk, whether it's exercising, or whether it's literally just sitting with your phone off, with distractions off, with your entertainment off. Why? What is the objective? Introversion. The objective is what? Spend time in self-reflection. Why? Why? Because you want to listen to your own mind. You want to evaluate your own life. You want to pay attention to your trajectory, how it's been over these past years, and where it's going into the future. Pay attention to your motives. What motivates you? What is driving your behavior? And of course, when you take an assessment of your life in this way, and I'm not talking about hours here. We're talking about like what? Maybe 10 minutes in a day, 15 minutes every second day, third day. Just try to schedule in some moments alone where your phone is off, where the distractions are off. Why? So that ultimately you can actually understand yourself better, pay attention to your own mind, and ultimately, inshallah, start planning how you're going to take advantage of this Ramadan. So what were the 3 points? Number 1, disrupt your bad habits. Figure out which time slots you usually waste your time in and try to find something beneficial to do, something engaging and fun and interesting that will actually disrupt these bad habits so you can minimize those bad habits. Number 2, write up your dua list in detail. So inshallah ta'ala, you will be ready for every time you break your fast, and during the last 10 nights of Ramadan, you'll be ready to make dua. And number 3, alone time. Make sure that you reflect and pay attention to what your motives are, what your thoughts are, a little bit of introspection, a little bit of introversion, and really look at yourself. And then inshallah ta'ala, this will help you plan out and visualize how this Ramadan is going to go for you. May Allah ta'ala make it easy upon all of us. Jazakallah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.